Hello everybody, my name is Rohit. I take physical education on behalf of PrepSchool. In today's session, we will be continuing the part 2 of our yoga session. In part 1, we learned about different yogasanas for obesity and diabetes. In today's session, we will be learning different yogasanas for asthma, back pain and hypertension. So without wasting much time, let's get started. Starting off with our asthma. In asthma, as you can see, what exactly is asthma? We discussed this before during the chapter overview in the first session. Asthma is a breathing problem which happens when your breathing pipes get inflamed. Okay, so if you practice these asanas, it will help you to cure your asthma problems. So what all asanas are those? First, Sukhasana, second, Chakrasana, third, GOMUKHASANA, then Parvatasana, Bhujangasana, Paschimottanasana, and finally it will be helpful if you practice Matsyasana to cure your asthma. Now we will get into each one of these asanas and try to see what all benefits and contradictions does it have, like we did in the first session. So let's start off with the benefits of the first exercise or first asana that we have, that is called as Sukhasana. Now as you can see, Sukhasana is what? What is the nomenclature of Sukhasana? If you remember from your 11th standard yoga class, I gave the nomenclature of Sukhasana. Asana is what? Posture. Sukh means what? Peace. So a posture which makes you feel peaceful and calm is called as Sukhasana. So let's look into the benefits of Sukhasana. Starting off with the first one, it stretches and lengthens your spine. If you have any kind of spinal issue or any kind of tension that is built up in your spine, it will help you to fix that. It will help you to stretch and lengthen your spine. The second benefit is that it calms your mind. Like I said, it is named as Sukhasana for a reason. It calms your body, it calms your mind, thus it is called as Sukhasana. Benefit number 3, it enhances your peace of mind. It gives peace to your mind. Then it reduces anxiety, stress and mental fatigue. Like I said, all the mental tension that is built up or all the stress that is built up because of the long working day or of a long session or of a long class, all will be carried down, all will be eased out if you practice Sukhasana. Moving on to next, it helps in improving your body posture. Now what is body posture? I explained this in the first session. Body posture is what? How you stand, how you sit. A natural way of body posture is made correct when your spinal curvature is correct. If your spinal curvature is deformed or if it is not in a proper shape, obviously and of course your posture will be turning into a bad posture. To avoid that, if you practice Sukhasana, your posture will be improved and you can again perform better activities and carry out your life without having any kind of pain or any kind of back issues. Now, like I said, benefits are a part of it. Now we also have to look into the contradictions. We cannot neglect contradictions because contradictions is what keeps the yogasana safe for those people who are eligible to that to perform such kind of different asanas. For every asana there is a contradiction. That means every asana has a contradiction. Here contradiction means for certain situations you are not supposed to practice that particular asana. So let's see in what all situations you are not supposed to practice Sukhasana. First case, if your knees and hips are injured and inflamed, you should avoid this asana. If you had a knee injury, if you had any kind of injury related to your legs, you are not supposed to practice this asana. Sukhasana again involves movement and crossing of your legs. As you can see from the image, Sukhasana involves stress on your leg. So if you have any kind of knee injury or any kind of leg injury, you are not supposed to practice this particular asana. What is the second contradiction? If you have a slip disc problem. Now slip disc is what? It's a situation with your vertebral column. If in your lower vertebral column, if your disc is slipped or if you have a slip disc issue, you are not supposed to practice this particular asana. So people who have slip disc issue are supposed to avoid this asana or they are restricted from this particular asana. I hope you understood the benefits of Sukhasana and its contradiction. Now let's move on to the second asana that you could do to improve your asthma. That is again which asana? Chakrasana. Now let's get into nomenclature. Though you already studied this, though already you know this, let's still brush up the whole knowledge and it will be a revision for you. Chakrasana is what? Asana is posture. Chakra is what? Chakra is a wheel or a cart wheel, that is called as Chakrasana. Now let's get into the benefits of Chakrasana. What is the first benefit? First benefit is that it strengthens your abdomen, spine, shoulder, hands and legs. So don't forget that, keep this in mind. What all things it strengthens? It strengthens your abdomen, it strengthens your spine, it strengthens your shoulder and it strengthens your hand. Moving on to the next benefit, it improves the function of digestive and reproductive system. Your digestive system and your reproductive system, it improves the function of that. So keep that in mind. It is again one more important benefit of Chakrasana. Now third point is Chakrasana is effective in curing thyroid disorder. So basically, if you remember from our last session, there we came across a word hypothyroidism. There they were particular about that particular type of thyroidism. Here they have generally mentioned just thyroid disorder. That means all the different kind of thyroid disorder, whether it is hyperthyroidism or hypothyroidism, all those people will be benefited by practicing Chakrasana. Let's move on to the next benefit. The next benefit is that it's good for back pain. If you have back pain issue, if you have any kind of pain related to your upper back torso, you can always practice Chakrasana to improve and to feel better. Moving on to next benefit, it stretches your chest and lungs. Again, the lungs diaphragm totally depends on how much you can breathe. What is the capacity of your lungs? How long you can hold your breath? If your lung capacity is long, you can again utilize the full capacity of oxygen that you take in, and the full capacity of your body and respiratory system will be used if your lung size or if your diaphragm size is expanded and increased. Chakrasana helps you to achieve that goal. Moving on to the contradiction next. Like I said, just like benefits are important, contradictions are also important for your knowledge, because if you ignore contradictions, you may have fatal results, because you may never know that the asana that you're performing is not right for you or is it good for you until unless you come across the contradictions of that. So because in certain conditions and in certain situations, or certain people with certain kind of medical conditions are not supposed to perform certain kind of asanas, that it is important to have a look at again the contradictions. The first contradiction over here is people with cardiac ailment. What is cardiac? We have studied about physiology and anatomy in sports, right? What is cardiac system? Cardiac system is heart, right? We are talking about heart system. People who have any kind of issue with heart, there are multiple kind of situations with the heart. So people who have issues with heart are not supposed to practice this asana. That is the first contradiction. Moving on to next, people with spine problem are also not supposed to practice this asana. Now spine problem, again they are particularly mentioned, not back problem, spine problem. If you have any kind of spinal curvature or any kind of issue with the spine, you are not supposed to practice this asana. Now given all that, I hope you understood the benefit and contradictions of Chakrasana. Let's move on to the next asana. The next asana in our list is GOMUKHASANA. Now let's again get into the meaning of GOMUKHASANA. What exactly is GOMUKHASANA? GOMUKHASANA, again when you translate it, go here in English means just to go, but here in go we are talking about Sanskrit term. So go is cow, mukh is face, so GOMUKHASANA is cow face asana, cow face posture. That's a derivation or that's a nomenclature of that. Now let's get into the benefits of GOMUKHASANA. Just look at the posture. You may remember this, practicing this from 11th standard practical labs. If you remember, you may miss this, it will bring back all your memories. Okay, now let's get back to the first benefit of GOMUKHASANA. It makes the leg muscle strong and elastic. What does GOMUKHASANA do? It makes the leg muscle strong and elastic. So basically every yogasana helps you to improve the elasticity or the flexibility of the body, but here in particular GOMUKHASANA helps you to improve the elasticity or flexibility of both your hands and your legs. Moving on to next, it helps in keeping the shoulder joints healthy and flexible. As you can see from the posture, the stretching of hand is involved and shoulder joints are extremely involved in this, and the tension is put on your shoulder muscles. Thus shoulder muscle going through such a tension for a long period of time throughout many days, your shoulder muscle will get used to that and it will build up a resistance towards such an activity and it will make your shoulder muscles more stronger. That's the point behind this particular asana. After that, it improves the function of lungs. Basically your respiratory system, your lungs, it will improve the efficiency and the capacity of that. Next, regular practice of this asana helps in treatment of what? Treatment of sciatica. Sciatica is again a vertebral issue or a vertebral problem which could be cured or improved while practicing GOMUKHASANA. What does it do? It improves by stimulating its different processes. When you practice Gomukhasana, the filtration process in your kidney is again rejuvenated or it is stimulated, which will help you for different kind of physiological balances in your body. Moving on to the next topic, that is the contradiction of Gomukhasana. What is the first contradiction of Gomukhasana? The individuals who suffer from shoulder, knee or back pain are not supposed to practice this. If you have shoulder pain or if you have back pain or knee pain, you are not supposed to practice this, because these particular parts of the body is involved and the tension put on this part of the body is very huge. So you are not supposed to practice this if you are facing these kind of problems. So that's contradiction number one. Moving on to next contradiction. Avoid this asana in case of any knee injury. So if you had any kind of knee injury recently, if you had undergone any kind of surgery, please avoid practicing this asana. Moving on to the third contradiction. What is the third contradiction? Avoid this asana in case of recent or chronic knee or hip injury inflammation. If you have any kind of chronic knee hip injury, you are not supposed to practice this asana. That is again the contradiction and the benefits of Gomukhasana. Now, hoping you understood both benefits and contradiction of Gomukhasana, let's move on to our next asana, that is Parvatasana. Now, as the name suggests, what is Parvat? Parvat is mountain. So, mountain pose is called as Parvat Asana. Asana is what? Posture. Please don't forget this. We studied this in the first session. The meaning of asana. Asana is what? Asana is posture. Parvat is again what? Mountain. So mountain pose is called as what? Parvat asana. Now let's get into the benefits of that. As you can see from the image over here, this is how Parvatasana is performed. You already know this. You studied this in 11th standard and you have practiced this many times in your 11th standard lab cycles or yoga classes. Now, the same can be practiced again. I hope you practice this again at home. Please practice all the yogasanas at home, because it will be extremely helpful, as you can see from different benefits and different things that it could cure. Okay. So, without wasting further time in this, let's move on to the benefits of Parvatasana. What is the first benefit of Parvatasana? It helps in enhancing the height. So, if you want to enhance your height, if you want to increase your height, it will help you to attain, or it will help you to access that goal. Next, it reduces the extra fat in the back and waist. Like I said, different asana targets different part of a body. Any asana that you do, any asana, whether it belongs to whichever category you do, calories are burned extremely and the fats are used. Since the fats are used, your obesity situation could be controlled, and many other ailments that your body has or disbalances your body has, which you may not know, will be automatically cured when you practice different asanas. When you practice Parvatasana, especially targeting the back and waist, it will remove all the fatties that is present in your body, or it will burn all the fatties that is present in that section of your body. Moving on to the third benefit, it tones the abdominal muscles and thus stimulates the organs of abdominal region. All the organs that is present in your abdominal region. What are those? The intestine, the small intestine, the large intestine. Again, further, if you have kidney, you have appendix and different organs, other organ systems. All of those systems will be stimulated and made more efficient if you practice Parvatasana. What is the fourth benefit again? It is extremely beneficial in case of asthma. If you have asthma again, it is extremely beneficial. It will help you to expand your breathing pipe and it will reduce the inflammation that is present, which is causing you asthma. So these were the benefits of Parvatasana. Let's move on to its contradictions. Like I said, we cannot ignore contradictions because those are extremely fatal if you overlook it or if you don't take it seriously. Okay. So first contradiction is avoid this asana in case of hip or back injury. So if you have a hip injury or if you have a back injury, you are supposed to avoid this. You are not supposed to practice this. Take it as a restriction for you. So avoid this asana if you have any such kind of problem. Now, hoping you understood the benefits and contradictions of Parvatasana, let's move on to our next asana, that is again Paschimottanasana. Now again, as you can see from the image, Paschimottanasana was performed. Now you can again refresh back your memories from the lab cycles of your practicals of yoga. Again, let's jump straight into the benefits of Paschimottanasana. What is the first benefit of Paschimottanasana? It makes the leg muscles strong and elastic. So basically, your leg muscles are made more strong and elastic because you are again stretching your hand to reach again to the feet without bending your knee. So that way your leg is flexed more, your leg is again extended more, and the leg muscles are made more stronger. Moving on to next, again it helps in keeping the shoulder joints healthy and flexible. The shoulder joints are made more healthy and flexible when you practice this asana. Now, the third benefit is that it improves the function of your lungs. Again, it improves the function of your lungs. Now, Paschimottanasana is one of such asana which also fell in other categories which we studied earlier in your last session. Now, you may think that why one particular asana is repeating in multiple categories. The reason is that certain asanas has that quality to improve not just one situation or not just one medical disorder. It can fix multiple disorder. That's why it is good for asthma as well as it is good for many other medical conditions. So having cleared that, let's move on to the next benefit. The next benefit is that regular practice of this asana helps in treatment of sciatica. Like we studied before, it will help you to again fix any kind of problem that you have regarding sciatica. Now next, moving on to the contradiction. Now the individual who suffer from shoulder, knee or back pain should avoid this asana. Like I said, people who are suffering from any kind of shoulder issue, shoulder pain or back pain are supposed to avoid this. Now I have said this in your previous session. I will repeat this again. Don't confuse shoulder pain with shoulder injury or back pain with back injury or back pain with spinal injury. All of them are different. Though back pain and spinal injury happens at the same location, both of them are totally different. When they say back injury, it could be spinal injury or it could be back muscle injury. When they particularly say spinal injury, they are talking about vertebral injury or vertebral column injury. Okay, so keeping that in mind, let's move on to the second contradiction, that is avoid this asana in case of any knee injury. If you have any kind of knee injury, please avoid practicing this asana, otherwise this could be fatal or it could make the whole situation of your knee injury even more worse. So avoid that. Moving on to next, avoid this asana in case of recent chronic knee or hip injury or inflammation. If you had any recent knee injury or hip injury or inflammation, please avoid practicing this asana. It is again dangerous in that case. Having studied about benefits and contradiction of Paschimottanasana, let's now talking about our next asana, Matsyasana. Matsya is what? Matsya is fish and asana is posture. So Matsyasana is fish posture. So what all benefits and contradiction does it have? Let's have a quick look at it. Okay. Now when you talk about again benefits, obviously you can see the image over here, how it is performed. Again, it will bring back the flashbacks of your yoga days when you used to practice this. Now again, since all lockdown is going on, COVID situation is going on, don't think that you cannot practice this now. You can still do it. You can still practice all these asanas at home, and I would suggest you to do that, keeping in mind now all the contradictions. So whichever contradiction applies to you, you filter out the asanas according to that and practice whichever is suitable for you. Okay, having said that, let's jump into the benefits of Matsyasana. What is the first benefit? It cures your back pain, knee pain and tonsillitis. So if you have any kind of problem with your back pain and knee pain and tonsillitis, you will be able to fix those problems by practicing Matsyasana. Second, it also cures the defects of your eyes. Basically, if you have any kind of problem with your iris pupil or any kind of retinal problem or infection, all this kind of situation will be fixed when you practice Matsyasana. Moving on to the next benefit, skin diseases can be cured if we practice this asana. What are skin diseases? They have generally mentioned skin diseases because skin diseases are in n number of situations. Okay, you have different kind of categories in skin diseases also. So all the kind of diseases, all the kind of skin diseases in general can be cured or fixed if you practice Matsyasana. Okay, so that's one very major benefit of Matsyasana. Moving on to the next, this asana is helpful for the treatment of diabetes. So if you have diabetes, if anybody in your family has diabetes, or if you know somebody who has diabetes, you can always suggest this asana to them for curing of diabetes. Okay, having learned all the benefits of Matsyasana, let's move on to the contradiction of Matsyasana. That is again the first one, avoid doing this asana if you have any high or low blood pressure. Like I said before, they have particularly mentioned high or low blood pressure. Now again, blood pressure fluctuation happens to many people. Now if you have low blood pressure or high blood pressure, please avoid practicing this asana. That is again restricted for those people who have this situation. Moving on to next, people having migraine and insomnia should not practice this. So if you have migraine or insomnia, you're not supposed to practice this asana. Now insomnia doesn't mean that again if you're not able to sleep for 2 days because of your work, you stayed up night and you did not sleep. That is not the case of insomnia. Insomnia is when you try to sleep and you're not getting the sleep. Okay, that situation is called as insomnia, where you're not able to sleep at all even when you are willing to sleep. Okay, in those situations you are not supposed to practice Matsyasana because it may make it even more worse. Okay, so keep that in mind. Like I said, contradictions are very important. You cannot ignore it. Please don't neglect it. Please keep in mind when you practice these asanas. Next, the individuals who have neck injury or lower back problems are not supposed to practice Matsyasana. So if you have a neck injury or lower back problems, lower back when you talk about, especially we are actually referring to your lower vertebral problems. If you have lower vertebral column problems, please avoid performing any of these asanas, especially Matsyasana. Okay. Moving on to our next section, that is asanas for hypertension. Now we discussed about asanas for asthma. You learned about all the asanas and the benefits of that and how it helps you to cure asthma. Now we'll get into our category of hypertension. Now hypertension is what? Hyper is what? Extreme. Tension is what? Tension is what? When you stress out a lot, when you think too much about something, when you take tension for anything a lot. Hypertension is a situation where you have that fluctuation in blood pressure because of extreme tension and extreme stress. People get used to that. Now it is said that it is psychological, and some theory or some school of thought says that it is both, again psychological and physiological. But leaving that debate over there, let's move on to what all asanas could actually fix that problem. Okay, so what all asanas could actually fix that problem? First, if you practice Tadasana, it will help you. If you practice Vajrasana, Ardha Chakrasana, Bhujangasana and Shavasana. Now when you get to Shavasana, you'll be super excited because I guess that is the favorite asana for everybody, Shavasana. And I obviously broke a myth about Shavasana because people say that Shavasana is the easiest asana. We'll get to that. We'll revise that myth which I broke in the last class. We'll get to that. But let's step by step go into each one of them and study the benefits and contradiction of each of these asanas. First one, having said Tadasana. Now Tadasana is again one of the best asanas to again increase your height. It helps you to increase your height. Okay, so let's get into different benefits. That's increasing your height is a general benefit of that. Just see what all other benefits apart from that you have when you practice Tadasana. First, it maintains your mental and physical balance. Your physical and mental balance is maintained when you practice what? You know this, you have done this, you have practiced this in 11th. What is this? Tadasana. Right, so when you practice Tadasana, your mental and physical balance is maintained. What is mental and physical balance? Like I told you, psychological balance, social balance, physiological balance, anatomical balance. Again, all of these things are interlinked. All of them are chained together in one circle. If one element of this falls apart, everything falls apart. So it is important to keep everything intact for a person to lead a happy and a good life. Okay, having said that, let's move on to the benefits of that. The second benefit of Tadasana, it reduces obesity. So if you have obesity, again it will help you to reduce this. Tadasana is again one more asana which you can put it back in your obesity category. It will help you to fix that particular problem also. What is the third benefit? It cures constipation. So if anybody has constipation issues, that will be solved or resolved when you practice Tadasana. Moving on to the next benefit, it cures digestive problems. If you have any kind of digestive issues, if you have any kind of digestive problems or gastric problems, all those things can be cured when you practice Tadasana. Now next, it is beneficial in treating of hypertension. Like I said, hypertension is what? Extreme fluctuation of your blood pressure due to hypertension, due to extreme tension and extreme stress out. All the situations can be fixed when you practice again Tadasana. Now having learned about the benefits of Tadasana, let's move on to again the contradictions of Tadasana. The first contradiction of Tadasana is people who are suffering from low blood pressure are not supposed to do this. Like I said, here they have particularly mentioned low blood pressure. So people who have high blood pressure or have a normal blood pressure can obviously practice this asana, but particularly people who have low blood pressure should avoid or are restricted from practicing this particular asana. The second contradiction again is, in case of headaches and insomnia, you should avoid performing this asana. This is again like the same we learned in the last asana. If you have headache or if you have insomnia issue, you are not supposed to practice this particular asana. Now next, individuals who suffer from blood circulation problems, we'll get to that. Faulty valves should not perform this asana. Now blood circulation problem, what is blood circulation problem? Okay, if you have any kind of blood coagulation, here when I'm talking about coagulation, I'm talking about palpitation, clots, that is your blood is not, blood is not fluidic enough. If it is getting hard over a period of time, or if you have that kind of issue, very often you're not supposed to perform this asana. Okay, now again, who are not falling into any of the category or situation which is mentioned by the contradiction section, you can obviously practice Tadasana and it will give you a lot of benefits apart from increasing of your height. As you can see, it will help to balance your gastric situations. It will help you to fix your, again, any kind of mental and physical balance, or it will help you to keep your mind calm and healthy. Having said that, let's move on to the next asana, that is again Vajrasana. Now we have discussed about this in the last session. What is Vajra? Vajra is what? Vajra is diamond. So Vajra asana is diamond pose. Diamond pose is called as Vajra asana. Now I will not get into why it is called as Vajrasana, because we have already studied that and learned that in the first session. Let's carry on with the benefits of Vajrasana instead. What is the benefits of Vajrasana? The first benefit is it improves concentration. People who have problem focusing, I am sitting to study 6 chapters a day or 3 chapters a day, but I am hardly able to finish one. Why? Because your span of attention and your focus is not correct. You always get distracted with simple things, and you are always getting distracted every 5 minutes, and you are not able to stay focused and complete a session. All those kind of situation will be fixed if you practice Vajrasana. Vajrasana helps you psychologically. Second, it is helpful in curing dysentery, back pain and chest diseases. Again, stress on chest diseases, back pain and dysentery. So if you have dysentery, chest pain and back issues, again back pain or chest diseases or any back pain or back injury, it will be able to fix that. Vajrasana will help you to fix such problems. Moving on to next, it enhances your memory power. Again, if you learn something, if you have a tendency to forget everything very fast, your span of storage of the memory is not strong enough or long enough, it will help you to fix that. By practicing Vajrasana, you can keep things in your mind longer than you actually used to do before practicing this. Moving on to next, it removes defects or any kind of deformity that is present in your body. So any kind of defects is there in your body or any kind of deformity is there in your body, it will help you to fix that. Next, it gives relief from constipation, acidity and increases again the efficiency of your gastric systems. So all the abdominal system, all the organs that is present in your abdominal region, it will regenerate that, it will increase the efficiency of that. Again, stress on acidity and again gastric systems or your abdominal organ systems. Having studied all the benefits of Vajrasana, let's move on to the contradictions of Vajrasana. In what all situation and who all should not practice Vajrasana. The first contradiction is people who suffer from low blood pressure are not supposed to practice this asana. So again, like I said, they have particularly mentioned low blood pressure. So if you have low blood pressure, please don't practice this asana. You are restricted from practicing this particular asana. If you again ignore this contradiction, it could be fatal to you. So please don't ignore it. Keep all these contradictions in mind because it's extremely important to follow all these small little rules. Okay. Moving on to the next contradiction. In case of headaches and insomnia, if you again have any kind of headaches or insomnia, please avoid practicing this. It will be again not good for you if you practice in such situations. Next, individuals who suffer from blood circulation problems. The same like we discussed earlier, if you have any kind of palpitations or any kind of clots or coagulations going on in your body or in your bloodstream, very often you are not supposed to practice Vajrasana again. Having said that, having learnt again the benefits and contradictions of Vajrasana, let's move on to our next part, that is ARDHA Now, this asana, ARDHA again, name suggests everything. Ardha is what? Ardha is half, Chakra is circle and asana is posture. So half circle posture is called as ARDHA. Again, you can see from the image how it is performed, and again you know how to perform this, so I will not get into the procedure of that, and you can again practice this at home and it will give you many benefits. So what all benefits will it give you? Let's have a quick look at it. First, it helps you to make ankles, thighs, shoulders, chest and spine more strong. It makes your abdomen strong. So overall core strength. Core strength is what? The overall strength of your body, which is again generated from your upper torso and your lower torso, thigh muscles, glutes, and again your chest muscles and your back muscles, your vertebrae, and different muscles that is involved in making your body stand and move efficiently. All those parts or all those limbs of your body will be made more stronger and more efficient if you practice. So this particular asana is very good for improving your core strength. Okay, moving on to next, it relieves stress and tension. So if you have any kind of tension, or if any kind of stress or any kind of pressure build up in your mind, if you have any kind of tension or any kind of chaos that's going on in your mind, if you want to have a peace or calmness in your mind, if you want to be very peaceful, it will help you to achieve that goal. Next, it improves digestion. So if you have any kind of digestive issue, if your digestive system is not working well, if you have issues of gastritis or any kind of such situations, it will help you to fix that. ARDHAMATSEYENDRA is efficient in multiple ways, physically as well as physiologically, thus it is very good. It cures menstrual disorder. Any menstrual disorder or menstrual dysfunction can be cured while practicing ARDHAMATSEYENDRASANA. Next, it cures pain in legs. If you have any pain in your legs, if you have any pain in your feet, it will cure all that. Okay, so these are the benefits of ARDHAMATSEYENDRASANA. Now let's move on to contradiction, and in what all situations basically you are not supposed to practice ARDHAMATSEYENDRASANA. First situation, avoid performing this asana if you have migraine. So if you have migraine, you are not supposed to practice this. Avoid doing this asana if you have peptic ulcer and hernia. So basically, if anybody who has peptic ulcer or hernia is again restricted from practicing this. Keep this in mind again. Like I said, contradictions are very important. Don't ignore this. Avoid this asana in case of hip or spinal problem. So if you have any kind of spinal or hip problem, you are supposed to avoid this. You are restricted from doing this particular asana. Again, move on to the next one. Pregnant women should avoid doing this asana. Women who are pregnant is not supposed to do this asana. It is restricted for them to perform this asana because it could be really fatal. Now moving on to the next, that is Bhujangasana. Again, nomenclature, we have studied this in our last session. Bhujangasana is what? Bhujangasana is king cobra pose. Okay, there are many benefits to that. Again, it will help you to improve the flexibility of the body, but let's see what all other benefits does it have. Okay, so again you can see from the image over here how Bhujangasana is performed, and let's move on to the benefits now. The first benefit of Bhujangasana is it reduces obesity. Okay, it reduces obesity, and especially it reduces obesity from your abdominal region. Okay, next, it improves strength and agility. It improves the strength and agility of your body. Next, it cures the disorder of urinary bladder. So any kind of disorder that you have in your urinary bladder will be fixed or cured if you practice Bhujangasana. Moving on to next, it cures the diseases of liver. Okay, any kind of diseases that you have related to your liver, it will be fixed if you practice Bhujangasana. Next, it will be very helpful. It improves your blood circulation. Now, like I said, blood circulation, they have generally mentioned again, blood circulation, it is not focused that Bhujangasana, if you practice Bhujangasana, it will be good only for your nervous system blood circulation. Particularly, it will help you for overall blood circulation of your body. Okay, now having learned all the benefits of Bhujangasana, let's move on to the contradictions of Bhujangasana. Who all are not supposed to practice Bhujangasana. Now, contradiction number one, people again who have hernia and back pain should not practice this particular asana. Who should not practice? People who have hernia and back pain. Stress on the word hernia and back pain. If anybody who is having such problem is not supposed to or is restricted from practicing this particular asana. Second, pregnant women should not perform this asana. Women who are pregnant is again restricted or should avoid performing this asana. Okay, hoping you understood the benefits and contradictions of Bhujangasana. Let's move on to the next category, that is back pains. Asanas for back pains. So what all asanas you could do to cure the back pain, your regular day back pain or any kind of chronic back pains that you have. Let's see. The first one is Tadasana. Okay, Tadasana, again we'll get into the meanings of that. We already studied Tadasana in different categories. We'll get into that. Second, ARDHAMATSEYENDRASANA. Third, Vakrasana. Fourth, Shalabhasana, and then after that we have Bhujangasana. So all these 5 asanas if you practice, your back pain will be cured. Tadasana, like I said, we studied this earlier. Again, how is Tadasana helpful? What is the first thing? Tadasana helps you to increase your height. That's the first major and all-round benefit you have when you practice Tadasana. What are other benefits does it have? We already studied this. We are just revising it again. Once more, what all benefits does it have? It maintains mental and physical balance. First, it maintains your mental and physical balance. Second, it reduces obesity. Your obesity is reduced when you practice again Tadasana. Third benefit, it cures constipation. Fourth benefit, it cures digestive problems. Again, like I said, we learned this before. What are digestive problems? Any kind of problem that you have with your gastric system or any kind of digestion problem that you have will be fixed if you practice Tadasana. Next, it is beneficial in treating hypertension. If you have hypertension, it will help you to fix that particular problem. Okay. Now, having learned all the benefits, let's move on to the contradiction of Tadasana. What all contradiction does it have? First, people who are suffering from low blood pressure are not supposed to do this. Particularly people who are suffering from low blood pressure. That means if a person doesn't have a blood pressure issue, or if a person has high blood pressure issue, can still practice Tadasana. So if you have low blood pressure, you're not supposed to practice this. If you have a normal blood pressure and if you have high blood pressure, you can still practice Tadasana under strict, again, guidance and supervision. Next, in case of headaches and insomnia, if you have headaches or insomnia, again, you're not supposed to practice this particular asana. Keep that in mind. Like I again said, contradictions are extremely important. If you don't follow this, it could be really dangerous for you. So please don't ignore that. Okay. Moving on to the third contradiction that we have, individuals who suffer from blood circulation problems are not again supposed to practice this. People who are suffering from any kind of faulty valves, again stressing on faulty valves and blood circulation, you're not supposed to practice. Again, if you have any kind of such problems, if you have any kind of cardiac issue, if you have any kind of blood circulation issue, you're not supposed to practice this particular asana. Now moving on to the next asana, having learned the benefit and contradictions of Tadasana, we'll move on to the next, that is ARDHAMATSEYENDRASANA. Now again, this also is repeating in this category. Like I said, some asanas will have benefits for multiple diseases. This is one of them. Okay. So since I already explained about ARDHAMATSEYENDRASANA, I am expecting you guys to guess again the nomenclature of that. Ardha means what? I'll give you a second. What is Ardha? Ardha is half. Matsya is fish. Asana is what? Asana is what? Posture. Yeah, pose. Asana is pose and posture. So Ardha Matsya Asana means half fish pose. So half fish pose is called as ARDHAMATSEYENDRASANA. Okay. So what all benefits does it have? Let's again go through it once more. We already saw this and learned this in another category. We are going through it once more. So it will brush up. It will be a revision for you also, and also you will get to know that ARDHAMATSEYENDRASANA also helps you with hypertension also, okay, and back pain also. Now let's get into this. Okay, now as you can see from the image, you already know how to practice this, how to perform this. Moving on to the benefits, the first benefit is that keeps the gallbladder and the prostate gland healthy. Your gallbladder and the prostate gland will be kept healthy if you perform ARDHAMATSEYENDRASANA. Second, it enhances and stretches the ability of the muscles. If your whatever muscles are involved while practicing ARDHAMATSEYENDRASANA, those muscles will be made more flexible. Muscles will become more strong if you practice ARDHAMATSEYENDRASANA. Next, it alleviates digestive ailments. So any kind of digestive ailments that you have, any kind of digestive problem, gastric problems that you have, all of those things will be fixed if you practice ARDHAMATSEYENDRASANA. Next, it regulates the secretion of adrenaline and bile. Again, I need not explain adrenaline. In what case adrenaline is secreted in our body and bile juice is secreted in our body. We have studied this in anatomy and physiology in our learn standard, again anatomy and physiology of sports, and I have again explained this in the first session of yoga that we had. So we'll not get into that. We'll move on to instead to the next point or next benefit of ARDHAMATSEYENDRASANA, that is it is again recommended for people who have problems with any kind of core strength issues. Some people are weak, okay, some people are weak by body. The reason is that not because they are weak naturally, because they were not involved in many kind of physical activity, physical fitness activities. So particularly ARDHAMATSEYENDRASANA will help you with your core strength and flexibility. Okay, as you can see from the posture, ARDHAMATSEYENDRASANA is what? Half fish posture. So basically you sit in Sukhasana and then you fall back, or when you go back, you basically giving a flex to your spinal cord, and spinal cord and the back muscle is basically what keeps your upper torso straight when you walk or when you talk or when you sit, right? In that case, ARDHAMATSEYENDRASANA is one of the best asanas to improve your core strength. That is one bonus benefit that I am telling you. Keep that in mind. Okay. Moving on to the next contradiction. The first contradiction that we have is women who are 2 or 3 months pregnant are again supposed to avoid this asana. Okay, if a woman is pregnant for 2 to 3 months, you're not supposed to perform this asana. The individual who suffer from peptic ulcer, hernia or hyperthyroidism are again supposed to avoid this. They are also restricted from performing this asana. So like I again said, contradictions are extremely important. Don't forget about that. Don't neglect it. Don't overlook it. It's extremely important. Please keep that in mind and keep study that and understand that well. Moving on to next, we have Vakrasana. Now, talking about Vakrasana, what all benefits does Vakrasana has? Vakrasana again, it improves the function of both spinal cord and nervous system. Your spinal cord, which is connected back to your nervous system, if you are studied, if you are learned, if you are focused during your anatomy and physiology class, you may remember this. Your spinal cord and your nervous system is connected together. If you know the anatomy again, like I said, any damage to your nervous system could cause problem again to your vertebrae or your spinal cord, or vice versa. Basically, if you have any kind of injury in your spinal cord, it may affect again your spinal cord. So it works in a change. It's all interconnected, right? So practicing of Vakrasana will improve the function of again what all things? Your spinal cord and your nervous system. So keep that in mind. Practicing of Vakrasana does what? It helps you to improve the functioning of your nervous system and your spinal cord. Moving on to second, it prevents and controls diabetes. If you have diabetes, it will help you to reduce that situation and it will help you to control it. Next, it strengthens kidney. Now next, the fourth benefit is that it helps in reducing any chronic back pain you have or any chronic shoulder pain you have. If you have any kind of chronic shoulder pain or any kind of chronic back pain, you are supposed to practice Vakrasana, because Vakrasana is one particular asana. There are not many asanas that can be done when you have any chronic back pain. Okay, chronic back pains are generally falling under the contradiction section. Okay, if you will find people with chronic back pain or chronic shoulder pain should not practice this particular asana or that asana in contradiction section. So this is one rare asana where it is under benefit. So basically you can practice Vakrasana if you have any kind of chronic back pain or shoulder pain. Moving on to the contradiction now. Contradiction of Vakrasana. What are the contradictions? First, avoid this asana in case of high blood pressure. If you have any kind of high blood pressure issues, you are supposed to avoid this. You are not supposed to do it. Moving on to the next contradiction again, that is individuals who suffer from peptic ulcers should again not do this asana. If you have peptic ulcer issue, again you are not supposed to practice this asana. People again who have peptic ulcers should not practice this particular asana. Now next contradiction is that this asana should not be performed who suffer from serious what? Back injury. Remember, serious back injury. So if you had a very serious back injury by falling or by any kind of accident, unfortunately, you are not supposed to practice this. In that situation, you are restricted from practicing Vakrasana. Okay, having said that, let's move on to next, that is Shalabhasana. Now what exactly is Shalabhasana? Again, children generally call it Superman pose. Now it's not a surprising name that is given. You can just look at the image and say why it is called like that. Okay, so basically Shalabhasana helps you with many benefits. We'll look into each one of the benefits. First benefit is that it provides relief to persons who have mild sciatica and slip disc problems. So what all things? Mild sciatica and slip disc problem. So if you have these two issues, if anybody who has these two issues, it will help you to again fix that problem. So Shalabhasana is again one major asana which will help you to fix two major problems. Keep that in mind. Next, the second benefit is that it strengthens the muscles of spine, buttocks and back of the arm. Again, you can see that these three categories, spine, buttocks and back of the arms, can also be fixed. Now you can see that your physiological problem and your anatomical problems both are being fixed while you practice Shalabhasana. Shalabhasana also improves your blood circulation in the body. Okay, I'm talking general blood circulation, not particular to certain parts, but in particular it will help you to supply blood and oxygen levels in your body. It will help you to balance the blood and oxygen level in your body very efficiently if you practice Shalabhasana. Moving on to next, it improves your posture. Okay, any kind of spinal curvature you have. We studied about different deformities, right? What all deformities did we study in anatomical classes? What all are those? That is lordosis, kyphosis, right? scoliosis, we have studied all this, right? All those kind of deformities can be fixed if you practice Shalabhasana. Okay, moving on to next, it stimulates abdominal organs. Now when you talk about abdominal organs, we are talking about your digestive system, your small intestine, your large intestine, your stomach, your liver, all those organs that is nearby your abdominal system. We are talking about that. All those systems could be efficiently balanced, and the functioning of that is improved when you practice Shalabhasana. Okay, keep that in mind. Next, we have contradictions. So what is again contradictions? Contradictions are those situations in which you are not supposed to perform that particular asana. Like I said, every asana has its benefits, but they also have contradictions. So you have to keep those in mind. The first one is avoid this asana in case of high blood pressure. If you have high blood pressure issue, you are supposed to avoid this asana. Like I said, people who have low blood pressure or people who have normal blood pressure could always practice this asana, but people who have high blood pressure should avoid this particular asana. Moving on to next, individual who suffer from peptic ulcer should again not practice this. Okay, suffer from peptic ulcers should not practice this asana. Now stress on the word peptic ulcer. Keep this in mind again. Anybody who has peptic ulcer is restricted from practicing Shalabhasana. Moving on to next, this asana should not be performed who suffer from serious back injury. So if you had a serious back injury like I again said, unfortunate accidents, if you had, you are not supposed to practice this asana. You are restricted to perform this asana. So please follow those guidelines. Follow these guidelines. It is extremely important. Having learned the benefits and contradictions of Shalabhasana, this asana is again repeating in this category. Like I said, certain asanas have benefits in multiple categories and multiple diseases. So that's why we are again going through Bhujangasana that we already have practiced many times in our lab sessions. Again brings back the memory, so you can again practice this at home. No worry, no sadness right now. You can always practice this at home. So without wasting much time, let's get into the benefits of Bhujangasana now. What are the benefits? First, we already studied this. We are just revising this again and brushing up. Just try to see if you know all this. Okay. It reduces obesity. First benefit is that what? It reduces obesity. Now what is the second benefit that we studied? What is the second benefit that we studied? It provides strength and agility. Okay. I won't stress on the word strength because generally all the asanas in yoga will provide you strength. All the asanas in yoga, core asanas, will help you to develop the strength in your body. So we will not focus on strength because strength and flexibility is two common things which you will get by practicing any yogasana. Focusing on Bhujangasana, we will stress more on agility. Okay, so it will help you to develop and improve your agility when you practice Bhujangasana. Moving on to next, it cures the disorders of urinary bladder. So any kind of disorder that is present in your urinary bladder will be cured when you practice Bhujangasana. Practicing Bhujangasana will cure any kind of problem that is there in your urinary bladder. It cures the diseases of liver. Obviously we studied about this. It helps you, practicing Bhujangasana will help you to cure any kind of diseases that is related to liver. Now when you talk about curing of these diseases, all that we are talking about now, curing of diseases by yoga is slow compared to other treatments. But understand this, okay, we are not using any artificial ways to change anything in our body. We are using the chemistry that is present in our body itself to cure ourselves. Okay, our body is a chemistry lab. There are thousands of reactions and thousands of chemical combinations and reactions that is going on in our body, and we are not even aware of that. Okay, sometimes when certain balance of chemicals goes up and down because of certain external or internal impact, things changes. Hormones disbalance come in our body, certain germs get developed in our body, get attacks our body, or immune system goes down, a lot of problems comes. All those things could be brought back to default. Default means again to the perfect body that you had from the time of your birth without any problems. All those things could be brought back to that default if you again put back those imbalances that you got in your body due to any kind of wrong practices, and yoga helps you with that. Again, getting back to the Bhujangasana benefits, number 5th, it improves blood circulation. Again, blood circulation in general it improves. It doesn't improve particularly for nervous system or cardiac system. In general, blood circulation of your whole body is improved when you practice what? When you practice Bhujangasana. Again, what is the nomenclature of Bhujangasana? Bhujangasana means king cobra pose. Asana means posture, Bhujanga means in Sanskrit it is king cobra. Okay, so king cobra pose is called as Bhujangasana. Now moving on to the contradictions of Bhujangasana. What is the first contradiction? People who have hernia and back pain are not supposed to practice this asana. Who all are not supposed to practice this asana? People who have hernia and back pain are not supposed to practice this particular asana. Now moving on to second, pregnant women should not perform this asana. Women who are pregnant are not supposed to practice this asana or is restricted from practicing this asana. So I hope every topic that we covered today, all the asanas and benefits and contradictions that we learned today, you understood it pretty well, including the first session we had of the same topic. Now having said that, hoping you understood everything, this is me Rohit once again signing out until next time. Goodbye.